The hotel elevator doors slide open, and Elena steps out. As she walks towards the help desk to check out, she can't help but stand out. Amidst the elegance of a high-end hotel in a bustling city, Elena's attire is incongruous. A jungle outfit, boots, and a partially concealed machete jutting out of her backpack. She's also dragging 2 hard-shell travel cases behind her. She catches the first taxi she sees. "Train station, please." Disembarking from the taxi, Elena heads straight for the luggage storage area. She rents 2 lockers, one for her main luggage and another for her cabin bag. Then she exits the station and jumps into the first available taxi. "Domestic airport," she instructs. The following day, after a grueling 20-hour journey involving 2 long transits, Elena arrives in Erunepe. Exiting the small dual-propeller airplane, every pore in her body wept with sweat. She takes a local taxi, probably the only one in the county, to the city center, relieved that the driver doesn't try to overcharge her. Erunepe is a quaint town ensconced in the jungle, colorful, beautiful, simple. The air is clean, the weather warm, and the humidity. My God, the humidity. This is something Elena did not miss. It's here that she realizes her age. 65 is catching up with her. Deciding to rest, she stops at a nearby bar. She is now at the gates of a different world. Here, everything is different from what she experiences in the U.S. or São Paulo. With no roads reaching this town and the river being the main means of communication, people make do mostly with what they can build themselves or manage to make last seemingly forever. The taxi and the bar she is sitting in are good examples of the ingenuity and resourcefulness people demonstrate in this land. An hour later, she resumes her mission, to find a way to the Yanomami tribe. After some inquiries, she is led to a dock where a young ferryman named Raul is loading a sizable boat. Raul makes weekly runs upriver, delivering essential goods to local villages.
"I need to meet the Yanomami."
Raul sizes Elena up clearly past her prime, sweat-soaked and city-bred.
"Look, lady, I could take you to a starting point for Yanomami territory. But to be honest, you don't look like you'd survive the boat ride, let alone a trek through the jungle."
"I'll pay you to bring me to someone who can guide me. My health is none of your concern."
"Your money, your life. It's a 2-day ride to the nearest Yanomami village. Just so you know, they're not keen on outsiders."
"Don't worry about me. I have a way of growing on people."
"It's 200 reals up front. Bring your own food for the journey and the trek. I leave at dawn tomorrow. If you're not here, I go without you. No refunds."
"Deal."
Raul points eastward.
200 meters from here, you'll find a hotel. Don't be late."
The next morning, Elena arrives late, dashing to the boat with rations in her arms. She takes her seat at the front, her expression sheepish. Raul smirks.
"Late, huh? I bet 10 reals you'd be a no-show."
He revs the engine and gray smoke billows out. A young boy pushes the boat off and they head upriver. By midday, the sun and heat are unbearable for Elena, even under the boat's soft canopy. Fortunately, a faint breeze over the river brings some relief. Leaning on the side of the boat and staring at the lush vegetation, Elena feels a sense of familiarity, yet it seems so distant in her memory.
Despite the beautiful day, this is the rainy season. The river level is quite high, making our journey easier, less chance of running into submerged logs. Do you know what else happens during the rainy season? It's piranha mating season. Those little demons go crazy this time of year. They'll bite anything, especially a few fingers trailing in the water.
His words jolt Elena out of her daydream, and she hastily pulls her hand back from the water. Raul laughs at Elena's reaction. She now sits upright in the boat.
There are also caimans. They could snatch your arm and pull you underwater to drown you. Don't get me started on giant anacondas. They're big enough to grab you right off the boat and squeeze you like a lemon before swallowing you whole, especially a small woman.
Anacondas wouldn't pick me off the boat.
True, but the rest would. One day, I saw a female that was longer than my boat.
While Raoul tells his jungle stories out of curiosity and boredom, Elena lifts the canvas, tipping it higher on one side to reveal a brand new dirt bike underneath. Elena eyeing the bike.
Do these count as essential goods around here?
Yes, they do. This is for the Garimpos. They have the cash, they buy stuff, I deliver.
You mean gold smugglers?
If you want to call them that, sure. Like it or not, they're the ones keeping the river alive, so to speak. Without them, we'd have no economy in our district. Either you work for them, with them, or you mind your own business. Some people make waves about pollution and the environment. Eventually, one of three things happens. They get richer, they get inexplicably injured, or it's piranha mating season for them. Me, I drive a boat and mind my own business.
Elena snaps the canvas back in place, clearly irked.
So, lady, what's the deal with you and the Yanomami? Let me guess. You're a Westerner who wants to study their ways to write a book and expose them to the world so the UN will protect them. Every foreigner I see on this river is here for either gold, animals, or tribes. I figured you're not one of the former.
I know the Yanomami. I want to meet them again.
Really? I want to see that. I don't know what your plan is, but it will take us 2 days to reach the village I talked about. I'll drop you there, and then it will take me an extra day to reach my final destination. Going downriver is a lot faster with a mostly empty boat. This means I can pick you up roughly in the morning of the second day after I leave you if needed.
Just before sunset, following 2 earlier stops, the boat reaches its designated resting place. For the locals, the boat's arrival serves as a weekly spectacle. They gather to marvel at the modern goods it brings: radios, batteries, parts for generators, sets of cutlery, small propane gas tanks, and, naturally, supplies to restock the local convenience store. As nightfall sets in, the jungle takes on a different character. The noises of mammals and birds recede, giving way to the chirps and buzzes of insects and the subtle sounds of nocturnal hunters. After wrapping up his transactions, Raoul speaks with a woman before rejoining Elena on the boat.
I've secured accommodations for you. Same terms as yesterday. We depart at dawn.
Thank you. Where will you be?
I have to keep an eye on the boat and cargo. The water is unpredictable. Anything could happen. See you in the morning.
The next day dawns humid and cool, a stark contrast to prior days. It feels as if the air is so saturated you could drown just by breathing. Rain had started to pour just after midnight, its drumming on the tin roof impossible to ignore. Raoul's warning proves accurate. The water level has risen to the dock's edge. The day aboard the boat is less comfortable, as they are confined under waterproof ponchos and have to periodically bail out water. Nonetheless, they reach Elena's destination on schedule. As before, the locals assemble, goods are unloaded, and fewer items are reloaded. With scant minutes of sunlight remaining, Raoul guides Elena towards Wari's home. The village consists of about 20 small houses, each blending seamlessly with the edge of the forest. Wari's home, like the others, is modest and unassuming. Raoul announces their arrival with a shout before stepping inside, Elena following closely behind. Wari is clearly Yanomami, but unexpectedly overweight, which slightly unnerves Elena. Elena, speaking respectfully,
I'd like to visit the Yanomami and exchange knowledge. Could you guide me to a village?
I can. There's a village about a day's walk from here. Those Yanomami will likely be somewhat welcoming and show you their customs and lifestyle.
Elena, puzzled.
Are these Yanomami authentic? I heard they're hard to approach.
They are. They've had contact with the outside world for over 3 decades, but they remain genuine.
I want to visit a tribe that maintains its ancestral ways.
That won't be possible. Such tribes don't accept outsiders without significant preparation, and even then, there's no guarantee.
Could you take me to one of those tribes?
I could, but I won't. To the Yanomami, I'm as much an outsider as you are. The risks are the same for both of us.
Elena in Yanomami.
I believe the Yanomami will accept me.
Wari responding similarly.
A few words in their language won't be enough.
It's more than a few words. I was raised among them. They're my people.
Raul in Portuguese.
You speak Yanomami? That's impressive.
I'm intrigued to learn more.
Will you guide me, or should I go alone? I know my way around the forest.
Regardless of your familiarity with the forest, without a clear destination, you'll die. It's that simple.
Pausing, he adds,
500 reals.
Agreed.
Wari in Portuguese.
We leave at dawn.
Why does everything happen at dawn? Doesn't anyone sleep here?
Raul lets out a chuckle. Raul and Elena exit Wari's residence. Night is quickly approaching and the rain shows no signs of letting up.
How did you manage to convince him?
I used my natural charm.
Ah, I get it. Dollars. I just hope he didn't out-negotiate me.
In the morning, Elena and Raul exchange farewells. Raul reminds her he'll return the next day before riding off. Wari then guides Elena to a canoe awaiting them at the river's edge.
I assumed we'd trek through the jungle.
The river's too high. The forest is inundated. We'll have to navigate by boat for the initial part of our journey.
2 hours into their river journey, they steer the delicate craft into a narrower, more serene waterway. The surrounding wildlife becomes increasingly noticeable. Caimans submerge at the canoe's approach, while monkeys observe the travelers from the trees. Wari handles most of the paddling. Elena contributes with occasional strokes. The forest canopy soon envelops them in shadow, and a swarm of mosquitoes joins their voyage. Elena grows increasingly uneasy on the small, unstable vessel, particularly with the disconcerting sounds of the aquatic environment. After navigating for over 6 hours, Wari decides it's time to disembark, pulling the canoe ashore to Elena's evident relief. She dashes behind the nearest bush for privacy. From this point, they will traverse the jungle on foot, with roughly 3 hours of daylight remaining. Feeling more secure on land, Elena attempts small talk with Wari, inquiring about the Yanomami's adaptations to the encroaching outside world. Wari's terse responses signal there's more to the story. She opts to tread lightly, maintaining a neutral discourse. As the sun nears the horizon, Wari announces they've reached their campsite. A drained Elena collapses onto the ground, while Wari sets off to gather firewood. The ensuing blaze allows Elena to heat a can of food and brew a cup of unsweetened but satisfying tea. It's then she chooses to ask the pointed question she feels Wari has been evading.
What happened to you? Why does meeting the Yanomami make you uncomfortable? You're one of them.
It was a long time ago. It wasn't such a big deal at the time. Once, while I was hunting in the forest to prepare for my rite of passage, I encountered a group of 3 garimpiros. It was a first for me, and I was scared. These people were not aggressive. They tried to communicate with me, offering me food I had never tasted before. I understood they were trying to communicate, although I couldn't grasp what they were saying. One of them was examining a bite mark on his neck with a mirror. I became very intrigued by the object. The leader took the mirror in one hand and with the other pulled out a tiny gold nugget from a handkerchief. I finally understood that they would give me the mirror if I could show them a spot where they could find more gold. I led them to a pond on the border of our territory, and they found what they were looking for. I thought bringing the mirror back to my tribe would earn me respect. However, our chief was extremely displeased with the situation. He smashed the mirror and instructed one of our trackers to remove it from our territory. 10 days later, one of our trackers saw that the pond had been taken over by the garimpiros, and I was blamed for it. From then on, I became an outcast, living on the fringes of the Yanomami's world. The Yanomami are unforgiving towards those who make mistakes, and mine led to the loss of a portion of our ancestral land to outsiders.
Taken aback by Wari's revelation, Elena steers the conversation in another direction. At one point, Wari attempts to startle her by pointing at a snake overhead. Elena retorts,
That snake poses no threat, unlike the blue frog beside you.
Wari, recognizing the potential danger, nudges the amphibian away with a stick. It had only been looking to feed on insects attracted by the fire. Overwhelmed by the journey, Elena decides to call it a night. In the morning, Elena didn't require an alarm. It seemed as though half the jungle was either flying or crawling around her. She'd experienced better nights. Wari is prepared to set out. He's traveling light anyway.
Today, we're going to meet the Yanomami. They'll either accept you or they won't. Regardless, I'll be heading back to the village afterward, with or without you. Follow my instructions closely when we encounter them. You don't want to get darted, or worse. I don't anticipate the meeting will last long. You'll have limited time to make a favorable impression.
Elena nods to indicate she understands. The journey resumes under favorable conditions, but a light rain begins to seep through the foliage after a couple of hours. It's at this point that the vegetation thickens, reducing their pace. By noon, Wari announces that they've entered Yanomami territory and could encounter them at any moment. About an hour later, he halts on a gentle incline. Arrayed before them are 5 Yanomami, garbed in traditional attire and armed.